Hello, everyone. Welcome to Challenging Behaviors. This is a training in the pyramid model for infant and toddler trainings. Today, we are going to be learning about how we can better understand and respond to challenging behaviors. If you need a break or need a rest at any point, please go ahead and make sure that you are taking care of yourself. If you have any questions, please, if you can't hold out to the end, just go on ahead and write those things down. We can stick them in the parking lot and get to them after we're done. Today, we're going to be talking about behaviors and situations that can be considered challenging with infant and toddler care. We will define what challenging behavior is and how it is in the context of infant and toddler care. And we're going to consider the reasons behind the challenging behavior. We'll talk a little bit and gather some information and figure out how we can understand it a little better, and then possibly come up with some strategies to either prevent them or how to respond better when it does occur. While we are here today, please make sure that we are always following our shared agreements. So respecting confidentiality, taking care of ourselves, demonstrating respect to all, passing if it's uncomfortable and you don't want to answer, taking risks, and probably asking a question that other people may be wanting to ask. Always assume positive intentions and recognize that we are all learning. So challenging behavior. Throughout infant and toddler development, new challenging behaviors or challenges may emerge. For young children, behaviors are consistently changing. We expect that this is going to happen, and it's a sign of their growth and development and their need or want for independence. There we go. But at the same time, during this growth and development, these challenging behaviors can be a little stressful for us as well as the caregivers, right? Sometimes it might be due to a child requiring a new skill, and temper tantrums may increase because they are wanting to develop that independence for themselves. What we may see as a challenging behavior might just be a behavior that is challenging. The difference between the two is behavior that is challenging is what is developmentally appropriate for that child. It is just challenging for us to deal with, right? So when that is happening, an example of that could be biting. Typically, biting is developmentally appropriate, and it is because of the lack of ability to use their words and to communicate. That does not mean that the child is whatever that action is. That means that that is what that child is struggling with at that moment, right? So making sure that we are not also labeling a child by the behaviors which they are struggling with at the time. Let's see. Sometimes our expectations can lead to us viewing a child's behavior as unusually challenging, where in fact it is very normal and developmentally appropriate for them to be in that stage. So, challenging behavior. Let's define what it means by challenging behavior. So let's look at our infants first, right? We have our pre-mobile infants and we have our mobile infants. Pre-mobile are those tiny little babies that come in that are not moving and shaking. They are needing everything done for them. So their only way of communicating is by crying, right? They cry when they're hungry, they cry when they're wet, they cry when they're wanting to just be held. That's how they cry. That's how they communicate, by crying. And then you have those that are mobile. Our mobile infants, these are kiddos that are sitting up or close to it. They are moving enough to go and take toys from their friends. Everything goes into the mouth. They're climbing on other people, on toys, knocking things down. When a stranger comes into the room, they're having a little bit of stranger anxiety. Because everything is going into their mouths, they're probably biting a little bit too, and crying and fussing. So this also, for day in, day out, can be challenging to the caregivers and parents as well, right? And that doesn't change as they become toddlers. It's just different. So with toddlers, again, they're into everything, right? They're pulling things down, they're climbing on everybody, but they're also a little bit more vocal. So you're also getting them saying no. They can't keep still. They have high levels of activity, right? Insist on doing things for themselves, whining, crying, claiming that everything is theirs. So that word mine is always there. That's for our sweet toddlers, right? All of those things, although can be challenging for us as caregivers, adults, and parents, this is typical. This is developmentally appropriate. These behaviors can be challenging for us. When we are dealing with those type of behaviors, it is crucial that we are also taking in consideration our identity, our values, and our beliefs as caregivers, as teachers, right? It is very important that we are considering that ours may be different from the families that we serve. So the pyramid model shows us how to stay balanced with that, right? But at the same time of teaching us how to stay balanced with that, we also have to be available and ready to kind of check ourselves and check in with ourselves to ensure that we are taking the breaths that we need, that we're taking a moment that we need so that we can respond to that child and support them properly. So this first video that I would like to show you guys is about a teacher or a few teachers. They are discussing kind of what challenging behaviors kind of not necessarily sets them off, but is uncomfortable for them. Those hot buttons. They're talking about their hot buttons in regards to the challenging behaviors. So let's take a quick minute and view that.
Trying to redirect what you said, and they won't look at you, and you're trying to get them to get eye contact with you so they can listen, and they're all over the place, and maybe humming or singing or just completely do not want to listen to you, and they're off.
I had an overwhelming challenge last year with a student that when he got upset, things that he didn't want, he would do outrageous things like no cheers and have a fit, screaming hard, kick, hit the teacher, and I had to back away because I never dealt with anything like that before, so I had to redirect my
So let's take a second. I'm going to kind of just let you know what I got out of that. The part that kind of stuck with me a little bit was where the lady at the end, where she said that the challenging behavior kind of threw her a little bit, where she had to kind of redirect herself. I think that's important. I think that that was a good move for her. She knew that that behavior for her was more than what she could handle at that moment. So she had to take a step back. How I would perceive that happening is either her standing up, taking a couple deep breaths, looking around the room, or maybe she asked for help. Either way it goes, she had to check in with herself first before she could redirect that child with their behavior, right? At the same time, when that's happening, you also got to like view the room and make sure that, you know, everyone else is safe. With the age range that we work with, it's very rare that we are by ourselves. So I don't anticipate her just kind of walking out of the room. I do anticipate her having the intervention of another staff member in there with her. So yeah, just kind of taking that moment, kind of stepping in and gathering yourself a little bit so that you can support that kiddo. This next video we're going to watch is about the emotional responses and strategies that each person used in those challenging behaviors. This is about less than 50-second video. And again, let's just check it out really quick.
Okay, what did I do wrong? I need to change something that I'm doing. Take a deep breath, count to 10. Okay, Kim, get yourself together, calm down, and then try to approach that child.
In the beginning, when I came first, I thought I love children, and I thought I can change everything, but it's not that so easy. So when I started to have this experience with a child who was hitting everybody, the teachers, and well, so hard, and I wanted to scream, I wanted to yell, I wanted to punish everybody, but I needed to hold myself. I needed to learn how to behave with the children.
So yeah, you know, sometimes you do want to do all those things, right? But we have to learn how to check ourselves a little bit, right? And check in with ourselves as well. The next video, and it's like 2 minutes, but I do think it's kind of important to kind of recognize how the way that you are brought up, your cultural differences versus the parents' differences can kind of, they're not always on the same page. And so the part of implicit bias is very, very important, that we are always checking in with ourselves to make sure that we are checking our biases at the door before we walk in and before we're connecting with the children. So this video is about the research conducted by Dr. Walter Gellum, I think is how you say it, at the University of Yale in the Child Studies Center. He illustrates how teachers' expectations can affect how children's behavior is viewed. While the study is about teachers and children ages 3 to 5, it is a great illustration on how our unconscious bias can affect our perceptions of children and their behavior.
Girl, a white boy, and a white girl.
Oh,
And they
sorry.
told the teachers.
Here we
It's
go.
a new study at the Yale Child Study Center. But I had to read a few times just to believe what it was telling me. The researchers recruited about 135 preschool teachers. They had them watch video footage of 4 kids playing. A black boy, a black girl, a white boy, and a white girl. And they told the teachers, their subjects, watch the video, there may be some challenging behaviors. As soon as you see something that could become challenging, hit the enter key on your keyboard. And here's the trick. There was no challenging behavior. The researchers were using eye scan technology to see which child the teachers were looking at the most. And what they found is that the teachers, both white and black alike, spent the most time watching the black boy, waiting for bad behavior that never came. There's one more really interesting headline in this study, which comes later. The teachers were also given a one-paragraph description to read of a hypothetical child with a stereotypical name who behaves pretty badly in class, pushes, scratches, throws toys. And some of the teachers were also given some biographical information that helped make sense of that behavior. They were told that the child lives with his mother, father has been in and out for years, they're relatively poor, the mother is depressed, works 3 jobs. Researchers wanted to know if knowing this information made the teachers more empathetic to the kid. Well, here's the shock. It did, but only if the teacher and the child were of the same race. If the teacher and the child, a white teacher and a black child, or even a black teacher and a white child, knowing that biographical information, those teachers were less empathetic towards those students. Here's why this matters. Imagine if this is true, if there's this empathy deficit in preschool, well, imagine where else that's true.
So with that, I think it's really important that we always check in with ourselves and with our own personal biases. I really feel that by Pyramid adding that core piece into their trainings is valuable and should be valued. I know that I'm over my time, but I really felt that was important for you all to see. So thank you, and I hope to see you all again. Thanks.